Morning.
Morning.
Welcome back to YouTube.
Yeah, it seems a long time, doesn't it?
It does now. We've had silly season, haven't we? Christmas, that's out of the way.
That's it.
It's that time of year now where when you're into your gardening and that, you start getting a bit itchy, you know, and you want to get going, you want to do stuff. There's certain things that you can do now, no problem, which we'll go through. Seed sowing is what we're going to do a bit of today, a couple of different ways.
Yep.
It's still early. If you haven't got a source of heat, which I know can be an issue, especially this year for people, you know, you've got to sit on your hands a little bit. But yeah. But there's some things we can get going, and as we go through what we're doing today, a bit of seed time, we'll mention it.
Yeah.
No, I'll show you. Right. So Megan at Coco Coir asked us if we'd be interested in giving this a whirl, which is some Coco Coir. This is a seed and cutting compost with 20% perlite. If we're asked to try something, by all means, we'll get a fair and reasonable trial.
Yeah.
And the thing is with us, though, we don't pull punches, do we, for want of a better word. If it's rubbish, I'll tell you if it's rubbish. If it's good, it's good. So, Coir then, right. The thing with this is there's actually 75 litres in there. It don't come ready to use as such. It comes in a block. So
a bit of prep work to do to get it ready.
Exactly, Dan. There's a bit of preparation. So that's the full 75 litre slab. Now, you get the instructions are all on the box. There's little diagrams and such just there. So to do a full block, you need to be adding 25 litres of water, which I'm not going to use it quick enough to mix the full block. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to half it, which will put you down to 12.5. I'm going to quarter it then, basically put 6 litres of water in.
Yeah.
Stands in 6 litres of water for 20 minutes. You give it a mix, and it says on the box it's ready to use. So we'll do that. We'll put it to one side for 20 minutes, and then we'll come back to it when there's 20 minutes is up.
Yep.
Right, I need something to cut and quarter this week. I hadn't thought about that, had I?
So shall we find a saw, and then we'll come back once we've cut it and dropping it in bucket?
Yep. Chuttering that camera down. Right. Turns out it's quite hard to cut, so Danny did it.
We're going to do a full block, but you know.
So anyway, we use a tape measure. We did job right. We didn't just guess off and quarters.
Yeah, so it's a 15 centimetre block.
That's it. So that's your quarter. Again, you've got to soak this in water for 20 minutes. It does say if you can use hot water, it'll speed the process up, but we're on an allotment, so we're using cold water, so it's going to get the full 20 minutes. Obviously, you need a waterproof bucket, some sort of container that'll hold 6 litres of water. If you're doing the full block, 25 litres of water. So
you'd probably be better if you were doing full block, do it in a wheelbarrow.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. What we did notice when Dan cut this as well is it's very dusty, so it's best if you can to do it outside.
Yeah. I mean, you can see it dust.
Yeah.
To be fair, it's a lesson learnt.
Yeah. And let that have a soak. 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Start seed sowing.
Yeah.
Right then, so it's had its 20 minutes. We've got it. It does recommend as well after 20 minutes you get a good stir.
Yeah.
My beautiful assistant has done that.
I have.
So what we're going to do then is I'm going to sow a few seeds. Stuff that you can get going at this time of year. Obviously, you do need that little bit of heat. Be it you don't have to have a greenhouse with gas burning, windowsill, propagator, you know, to get them going. Going to leave the coir for now. And I'm going to sow into it using a traditional, if you like, a seed compost. So it's the Levingtons, which I have 2 go-to seed composts. It's either Levingtons modular and seed or Clover modular and seed. I don't find there's much between them, to be honest with you. So if I went somewhere and they hadn't got one but they got other, I won't be fazed by it. It don't really matter. Right, what am I going to sow then? So the stuff you need to be thinking about sowing at this time of year is such as celery. These are long crops, so it's going to take them a bit of time to get established. This is pelleted celery because it can be a nightmare to get celery to germinate, and having it pelleted just gives it that bit of help, which is good for us. Maisie tomato seeds. It is early to sow tomato seeds. The reason I'm sowing them is because these are a Medwin strain. Yeah, you don't get a lot of seed in the pack because they're an expensive seed. So I'm going to do what we did last year. These are just going into a pot. They're going home into my heat tent, which I have at home with me big onions in, to germinate in there. For the pure, it's a simple reason I want to get some cuttings off before we get to spring. You know, so if I get 8 plants or 6 plants, I want to try and make about 15 out of them.
Yeah.
So that's the reason for starting them early. The other thing we're going to set off for people who are, 2 cabbages. If you want to get going, you want to try and get a crop underway now, cabbage plants, greyhound. If you remember about them early varieties, that look for anything that's a shorter season. Greyhound mature very quickly.
Yeah.
As opposed to, say, a brigadier cabbage, which will take a lot longer. So if you're after an early crop of cabbage, I recommend you sow some greyhound now. And also, I'm going to set our giant cabbages off, which we went to Harrogate with last year.
Yeah.
So we're going to get them underway. Right, there's a lot of things you can sow seeds into nowadays. A lot of people use these Chinese containers, you know, when you have these takeaways and things like that.
Little white
things like that. I ain't got any in here at the minute, but cell packs, you know, they're that type of thing now. It's upside down in there. Pots, plant pots, if you're not sowing many seed, if you're only sowing a few like I'll be doing with Maisie's. What I've gone back to is old rigid traditional seed trays. Yeah. As you know, I do grow the big onions. That seed goes under, or I send that away as it's called, in October. I've tried different ways of doing that seed because I like the onions, once they've germinated, to stop in that compost. I've got a couple of leaves on them, a couple of true leaves. And I found this year I went back to using a tray and results were a lot better than what I've had.
Yeah.
And I think it's purely because of the volume of compost and the depth of compost you've got. Yeah. So there's a tip for you. Now, I think what puts people off with using seed trays as opposed to a lot of modern things what we use for sowing seed now is the actual size of it. It is a big piece of kit now for what we have for seeds. But all I do is I'm going to put 2 varieties of cabbage in here. I'll put my compost in. I just snap that down to the size of the tray and I'll just lay it on top so I know I've got one at one side and one at the other, obviously with a label. Right then, seed compost. Glory of this is you use it straight out of the bag. There's no sieving, there's no messing about. And if you do come across a few big, large lumps, just break them up with your hand. It's great to be back again, Dan, isn't it? Getting going a bit.
Yeah, it's been a long 2 months.
Yeah. Like I say, it's a very cautious time of year that we haven't got through February yet, which can be a crippler.
Yeah, I mean, it was bad until, I think we had it until May last year, weren't it? May was quite bad.
Yeah, I mean, we had 8 days this year, which we hadn't had for a long time. It just didn't get above 0, did it, really?
No.
For a couple of hours a day it did, but yeah, it were really severe. Which, a benefit, might have got such a lot of bugs. You know, it might have slowed them whitefly down a bit this year.
Yeah, we were getting pretty overrun with whitefly, and it'd be nice to see if it's calmed it down a bit.
It will. Yeah, so let's have your seed trays more or less filled to the top then. If you can get in on this compost, Dan. It is a little bit lumpy this, but that's because it's been out in the cold greenhouse, you know. So the thing to do, what you're looking for then, is I cut myself a little bit of wood, scraping it, is to try and get it, which I think we've mentioned in the past, as level as you possibly can. The reason for that is you don't want areas what are going to hold water when you put your seed tray into water, because all that'll do, if you've got an area what's holding water and it's not flowing away, it'll rot your seed.
Yeah.
So you've got to give these seeds as much chance as you possibly can to germinate and get away. So it's tamping, you know. We're not putting a bed of concrete down. They've got very young, fine roots, the radical roots when it comes through, so it wants nice, airy, light compost to get away in. I'm happy with that. I guess about halfway. You having that, Dan? What do you reckon?
That's about it.
Aye. Right, so what we're going with, we'll have Medwin's own strain, giant Cornish cabbage. You can use scissors. It's these vacuum packs.
Yeah, the foil packs as well. They're a bit tough.
Look at that. New year, Dan. Not have bad habits.
I mean, to be fair, these packets as well, if you take a look at them, they have got a, you know, like a terrier on the other side.
They might have. Make sure there's none left behind. So that's the cabbage seeds. Not a dust seed, but quite a small seed, really. Right. When you're sowing them, the thing to... I'll just square that up a bit. Just see now that it's not quite right. That'll do. What you don't want to do is you don't want to oversow.
No.
So if you've got a packet of seed, there's no benefits at all. A lot of these seeds contain 200-300 seeds in a packet. There's no benefit to putting a full packet in. Yeah. One, you're going to end up with far too many plants than what you need.
Yeah.
But the main reason is, if you overcrowd them, you'll not get good plants. You've already given yourself an handicap at the first stage. You're going to get weak plants.
Yeah.
They're going to shade each other. They're going to fight for light. They'll go leggy on you. So thin. You know, less is more when you seed sowing.
Yeah.
There's probably 20 odd 30 seed there, which would just be nice for one half of this tray, Dan. That is probably maximum what I put in half a tray. I won't go any more than that, and that's pushing it, to be fair. Also, you have got to allow that not every egg's a bird, so not every one will germinate. Important thing as well, once these are in, is to do a label. Because I'm sharing this tray between two varieties, I don't want to grow greyhound on thinking it's a giant cabbage for the next sort of
That'd be a disaster.
5 months, yeah. So I'll just write Cornish on here.
Cornish pasty.
Cornish pasty. I had a Cornish pasty the other day, first time in a long time. And then I grabbed my greyhound, which is here. Whoa. You see what I mean about I'll pour them all out. See what I mean about the average quantities.
Yeah.
If I put that lot in there, I'll be lucky if I get half a dozen good plants. So I'll just put them on greenhouse floor instead. So we're going with that many, which is roughly the same amount as Cornish, I'd say. In fact, if you can see, Dan, if you can pick it up with your camera, I know that same colour as compost, but you can see the spacings with each seed.
Yeah.
You know, there's none that are sort of side by side, if you like.
Yeah.
They've all got a bit of room to grow. I think that's a good way of saying it, a bit of room to grow. So again, just sprinkling these on. There's a few left there. I think that's more than enough. Right, next step, just want to give them a fine covering of compost. This compost don't need sieving because it's fine enough, it's a fine enough grade. But I'll sieve it so I get the uniformity when I'm covering it then, yeah? Yeah. But you can see with a fine compost, it don't take much sieving and it's out. And cabbage seed is one of the seeds you can actually see when you're doing this, so you know when you've covered them. I've no need to put a label in Cornish, because a label in greyhound, because I know that that's Cornish, so try to cut down on use of plastics and all such as that. just clean my sides up. I do try and like to keep it as clean and neat as possible, the actual seed tray. Bit of wood again, cut to side. Now, very gently, I'm just tapping it. Careful not to move that stick as well. Yeah. Consolidation is vital, as I said to you on many occasions. 10 to 14 days, we're looking at germination on these, possibly quicker depending on the temperatures. As soon as that's done, for God's sake, don't pick up a watering can, no matter how fine a rose is on the can, and water above.
No.
It's just bad practice. Water from the bottom. So stand these, you'll know when they're wet, because you'll see it change of colour in compost. Yeah, that sits in there. Once it's wet, then it's straight out, let it drain, onto the heat, and away you go. When we finish with coir dam, we'll probably clip it, come back, and then I'll show them what I've done with my seeds after we've sown them.
Yeah.
On my seed trays,
Yeah.
sorry. Right, it's moment of truth, Dan. We'll have a look at the coir. Just clean this tray, we don't want to cross-contaminate.
Yes. Come back once.
It's going back in bag. It's about £9 a bag now, this, so we'll not waste it.
No, definitely not.
So it does go a long way. Right, so there it is, Dan. We've tipped it out. Cocoa coir. I think the first thing you've got to get your heads around is it's not peat compost, so it's not going to look or resemble like peat compost. That ain't the point. It's the results that matter. What I picked up straight away, which is good, it's a fine grade perlite, which is what you want. You don't want this sort of medium to standard grade seed compost. You want this fine grade perlite in it. So they haven't skimped on that.
No.
They put the proper perlite in. Right. Different medium, a growing medium, but the method is exactly the same as it would be with peat compost. In the method, you know, the actual logistics where I'll sow it. It's recommended 20 minutes, which this is usable. It's had 20 minutes. I would say, looking at it straight away, if you could give it about an hour, it might be a bit better a bit more drained.
Yeah, it is.
It's quite wet.
Still a bit wet. I mean, that could be us not doing the quarters right or anything, but just
yeah.
And there's still plenty of moisture in it, and obviously you're not going to have to water this.
No, this won't need the Bosch. This will go straight onto the heat. I just don't know about riddling this. What I might do is, no, I haven't got it in here. What I'll advise you to do maybe then is just give it a fine covering of vermiculite once you've sown your seed, rather than go over the top with seed compost. But again, that might be because we have gone to the 20 minutes. We've given it no leeway whatsoever.
Yeah.
So we're just going to try it. We're not going to go for anything like celery, which is a bit more, not skillful, but takes a bit more germinating. We'll get some lettuce. I think that's fair, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like I say, celery is a bit of a hard germination.
Yeah.
It'll take up to 2 weeks.
Full tray of lettuce. That's for a full tray. Probably won't use all that, to be fair. This is just a lettuce leaf. It's a cos. Like I say. The old OXO method, Dan. You're too young to remember that, won't you?
I remember OXO.
Linda Bellingham advert.
I don't remember her though.
I will try and sieve a little bit. I don't think I'm going to have much success, but I will. It'll not matter so much for lettuce if it ain't covered, as long as it's in contact anyway. Excuse sniffles. It might sieve, who knows? No, that's not happening. So all I'll do is make sure that's... Just press him in lightly. Again, don't forget to label it up. I'll put one in when we've done filming, so I'm not wasting time. It's your priority is always to label. Just check you haven't got any seed, like there's one there, just got stuck to a piece of wood because it's damp. So there we go, we'll see how that one goes on, Dan. Get
Yeah.
the same treatment as everything else, which I think's fair. And we'll take it from there. What we'll do is we'll carry on with the coir.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I am starting to use. These, well, second grade onions, shall we say, they've gone into Terra Pro Plus now, which is a mix. So there's all different sort of compost we're going to be using this year to try them, to see what's best for you and how they react. Come back to us in 2 minutes. I'll show you what we do with seeds. Now I've done that after I've done seed trays. Yeah, right, so there we are. We set up. What I've done is I've got gas on in this greenhouse, as I've said, more or less directly underneath my gas heater, so there's a nice warm spot here. It's not going to get too hot because this is on a thermostat, so it only kicks in at a certain temperature, which I think is about 3 or 4 degrees. Put them in there. I put this propagator cover over the top. Just fits 2 trays in nicely. Yep. Make sure your vents on your propagators, if you're using a propagator, are closed. Put lid on right way, that always helps. I'll just click in there. There she goes. That's the way. Keep them closed. Keep your eye on them. When you start seeing your seedlings start to emerge, open these vents up to let some air in, get the air movement. Yeah. They'll stop in there till I see a true leaf on them.
Yep.
Because they'll germinate with what we call a seed leaf, which isn't a true leaf. You don't want to be potting them on, moving them on then. You want to wait for the first true leaf. When they get to that stage, we'll prick some out, that's the expression, and we'll film that just to show them, Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is it ain't a big thing, but there's right ways and wrong ways, same as everything else.
I think one thing to just add as well, while we've just been on about gas, these little heaters, you get a little thermostat on the side.
Yeah.
Now this, it's usually attached to the heater itself.
Yeah.
Now it's best taking it off. As you can see, we've just got it raised. Obviously, we don't want to be having, heat down here. We're just wasting gas. So.
Yeah, because I did make that mistake last year, and what I found were this were igniting way too much and I using too much gas. So you're right what you say. Get that probe lifted up. Yeah, be careful with it though, because it is like a copper lead and it's very fragile. So be gentle when you do it. That's the only thing with that. Right, this time of year then, like I said, January, you've got to take baby steps yet. But there's some things what really, if you want thinking about growing them, you could do with getting underway now. Just a couple of examples. The first one, you definitely want to be getting into pots, and whether you've got heated greenhouse or not, a cold greenhouse, is just shallots.
Yeah.
Right, with shallots, really, they should be planted on the shortest day and harvested on the longest day. Shortest day was 21st of December. So that's a week or two ago now. The shallot bulbs are starting to come into shops, greenhouses, nurseries now. So really, anytime now, even today, if you get the urge, you can get some shallots, get them planted up. For me, as a garden, as a kitchen crop, pound for pound, one of the best things you can grow.
Yeah.
I really only grow onions for exhibits now. Eating wise, a lot more shallots. These, and don't get confused. You can eat these. You do not have to pickle them. They're not a pickling onion. Treat them like you would an onion. My good wife, when she makes a stew, will have these all in the stew, and you'll get the blue trays like them there, Dan. You'll buy your average bag of shallots, you'll get 3 or 4 of them full of shallots.
Yeah.
So really good value for money, or shallots. The onions, these are normal 250 onions, which is a table onion. They're a long-term crop. They take a long time to grow. So really, if you've got onions and you're doing them from seed, you want to really be thinking about getting your onions from seed off now.
Yeah.
Again, the way I've sown the cabbages and the lettuce is how you can sow any of your seeds that using that method. So I'd do your onions the same. Get them away. Keep water down with onions, especially when they start emerging. Get that ventilation straight on them because they will damp off. That's the only drawback with onions from seed. Big benefit with onions from seed, very few bolt on you.
Yeah.
You find it happens a lot with sets because of the vernalisation, which is, I'll not go into that, but you don't find it so much with onions from seeds. And a few, your leeks, again, they're a long-term crop. They're an 8 to 10 month crop. So if you've got some leek seeds, summer leeks, well, autumn leeks, going into winter. Ideal time now, get your leeks underway. The other thing, if you want to and you've got the temperatures like I have, your tomatoes, still a bit early, but if you want to get them away and you can give them that protected environment, by all means. And your peppers are a slow crop. So peppers, celery, your shallots and your onions. The other thing that are out now to have a look at buying is some potato sets.
Yes.
Yeah, it's still early for planting, but it's usually, if you've got certain varieties you want, then it's nice to grab hold of them. And I found out this morning that they're having problems with the international kidney. So if you would like to grow those, that early variety, which is Royal Jersey, you need to be looking round for it. It's in scarce, and there's a scarce supply at the minute. So yeah, it's something that I'd say I find it's very simple and very basic. But I've been doing it a lot of years. It might not, until you've done it, you don't know.
No.
But people might sow the seed slightly differently to where I have, and they might have a lot of success. What I know is I've always done it that way, and I've always been successful. So there you go. It's there for you to follow. Happy New Year, Dan.
Happy New Year.
We'll be back soon, yeah?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cheers.